Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Gail Dudley. This is day 2 of our comeback. I am so excited, although today is going to be an extremely heavy news day. So, if you're here, if you're tuning in, go ahead and share this. Hopefully, your share button will work today. I see you, Jeffrey Allen James. Good morning to you. But this is going to be a heavy news day. There's so much content that I will definitely not be able to get to all of it this morning, but I'm going to be giving you some teachable information. So you may already be armed with it, but you'll be able to pass this off with someone else. So what's up, Kimberly Walton Graves? What's up, girlfriend? So this is a heavy news day. Good morning, Jacqueline. Good morning to you. So again, I see you, Ron Robinson. Good morning, my friend. Good morning. I really need you all to share this. I am going to be loading you all down with information. Oh, I miss you too, Ron. Look, the way the news cycle is going, Ron, I told Kevin, I said, I'm going to have to hire Ron to be bodyguard or something because this news cycle is nuts. Good morning, Adrian. What's up? Y'all, today I literally will be shifting the news that I had prepared yesterday to all the breaking news that's coming in. I have papers everywhere, I really do. But we're going to get to as much of this as possible. Again, this news day today, this news day is going to be somewhat heavy. We will go through our time, and most of it will have to move on to the next day. But there's a lot of information. As I'm saying that, I see you, Regina. I see you, Pastor Alex. I see you, Latrice Jones. What's up? So again, share this. People, maybe they don't want the headlines, but they want content. I'm going to be giving you content today that you can use. I don't know how else to stress that. I'm going to be giving you content. Ron Robinson said, new job, praise God. Good morning to my sister, Patricia Lyles. Good morning to you. So I'm going to be giving you tons of content today. If you have paper and pen, you want to pull it out. In addition to that, the press releases that we received yesterday on 2 items, and I have no problem sharing those with you. The 2 items, before we go to the intro, the 2 items is the partisan poll worker training that was in Michigan, and then also the Oath Keepers. The 2 press releases we received came with a caution and a beware, and to make sure we are being responsible when we are reporting it. That also sends a signal that we have to be extremely careful because there are trolls. So if we see any trolls that come on to our broadcast this morning, Isaiah is there to try to block them. To some degree, I want some people to stay on here, but if they get nasty or vicious, I just want to share with all of you that, there's, of course, the trolls, we will not be sharing the same views by any way, shape, or form. And just to pray, I think that's where we should really start, just to pray. Y'all, there's a lot that's happening, and this is happening as we are going into the November 8th midterm election. So I do want to be responsible in reporting this. When I get to the Oath Keeper segment, I will not be giving the list of names. That list is pretty interesting. The list of names, because I have not had the opportunity to research each person and to vet them. And then we also have other caution that we will share with you about that as well. Saying all of that, I think we should start with this morning just to pray and just for all of us. And listen, when we talk about the Oath Keeper, we are not just talking about Black and brown people. We're talking about people who may not align with their ideology. So I want to be very mindful of that. I see you, Danielle. I see you, Marion. Good morning. All right, y'all. I see all of you. We're going to go to the intro and we'll be right back. So, to just give some lighter side before I jump into the different news that we have that's out there, the lighter side of things is this. Y'all, Michelle Obama gave a moving campaign speech yesterday. I'm joking, I'm joking, I'm joking. She wasn't campaigning, but her speech at the unveiling of her portrait was amazing. Capital A. I see you. I see you, Lori Wallace. I see you, Donita. I see you, Hester. Michelle Obama's speech was amazing. I said, wow, very presidential, very campaign like. I said, girl, come on out here and put your name in the pool of things. I know she would not do that to Uncle Joe, not unless he said he wasn't going to run. But trust me, Michelle Obama could run and could win. I just wanted to say that. All right, let's get to the seriousness of the news. That's serious too, if you ask me. Let's get to the seriousness of the news. It came out yesterday. CNN is the one who did the breaking news on the partisan poll worker training. Now this is an organized attempt at really messing up these November the 8th training. These are these election deniers that are out here doing certain things, saying certain things, and we need to be mindful of what is happening. That's why I cannot wait until we come out as well as poll workers. On Monday is going to be a very special segment where we will have an NAACP representative who's also on the steering committee of Power to the Polls, who will be joining me. Their name is Jamal Watkins, I believe. They'll be joining me and talking about this to give you some ideas of what's going to be happening if you are a poll worker, the long day, what to look for, and so forth and so on. But this partisan training that took place out of Michigan, this is Wayne County GOP leaders caught on tape suggesting poll workers break rules. I just want y'all to be mindful of what's happening here. They also came out and said that the Wayne County GOP poll worker training led by election deniers. And then they also called the workers as secret agents. None of these things aligned with what a poll worker is to do. So again, the breaking the rules and all of that that's going on behind that. Now, I want to share something with you from the CNN report. They said on here, none of the constraints that we're putting on this are legal. Former State Senator Patrick Colbeck told trainees on August the 1st call. He said, this isn't legal, but we're going to teach you to do this anyway. That is why it is so important that if you are a registered voter, you have to be a registered voter to be a poll worker. If you are a registered voter, consider becoming a poll worker. We're leading up into what we call early voting. Even in that, in early voting, if you are available, if you have time, if you are a retiree, if you have flexibility, consider that. And then if you are actually working on that day, it is an extremely long day. Again, we'll have the representative from Power to the Polls who will talk about that on Monday. But hear me. We need to be present at the polls. We need to be present. So let me keep going. They were talking about why volunteer partisan observers have always been trained by political parties. That is a true statement. And nonprofit groups in Michigan, Wayne County GOP had also invited poll workers, people hired and paid by the local clerk's office. And a lot of these people, as we are finding out now, are a part of this election denier group. Yeah, Latrice Jones just blatantly disregarding. Now they were also talking. I want to get into some of this. I want to give you some things that we can do as well. Y'all, this one report was 6 pages long. Okay. And again, I'm not going to name names here because I have not had the opportunity to do my due diligence in vetting all of these individual people, because this stuff was breaking news like around 7-8 o'clock last night. They were talking about during Wayne County's training call obtained by CNN, the presumption that Democrats cheat, justifying Republican rule breaking, is the discussion. They're trying to say that the Democrats are cheating, so the Republicans are just going to break rules. Say what? Can we just all do voting right? And there's a way that this can be done. So they were talking about manipulating the votes. They were talking about how to intimidate voters. They were talking about the election process and how they can do certain things. They were talking about, when you go to the polling locations, there's a spot where you cannot campaign so many feet from the door. They were talking about changing their clothes and going in closer. They were talking about all kinds of stuff. They were talking about telling people that they could not vote or they weren't on the polls. They weren't on the registration. Talking about issuing provisional ballots. Y'all, all of these are keywords that we really need to understand so that we know how to respond. Okay. Again, this is a different kind of news cycle, but this is the news that we give right here at News in Motion. They were talking about while serving as poll challenger. They're calling them poll challengers. Like, what? So you want to just challenge us when we walk in the door? And they were talking about this was in the counting center in Detroit. Say that real fast, right? They claimed that Colback, this particular person, claimed he saw vote tabulation machines connected to the internet. Now, hear me. The voting machine designer has already sent them a cease and a desist letter from their attorney saying you can't do that. Don't say these things are happening with our voting machines. Let's stop, rewind, go back to a couple years ago. Whose name was on some of those voting machines? Who bought some of those voting machines? Y'all remember that, right? Ivanka. Y'all remember that, right? So, approached by CNN at the Michigan Republican State Convention, they were talking about the poll workers to be spies. It's like, what is this? What is going on, and why are we doing this? So, y'all, although you want to tune off or turn off some of these things, we must pay attention. Now, the ACLU has issued a statement, and they were talking about what is voter intimidation. Well, federal law says that no person shall intimidate, threaten, coerce any other person for the purpose of interfering with the right of that person to vote or to vote as he or she may choose. Many states have their own laws prohibiting voter intimidation. Stop right there. We also know that many states have changed their voter laws. So we have to be aware of that. Now, here are some examples of intimidation and what they include: aggressively questioning voters about their citizenship, their criminal record, or other qualifications to vote in a manner intended to interfere with the voting rights. Again, the voting rights is all in question. So some of this, what are we going to do here? So we have to arm ourselves going forward. Falsely presenting oneself as an election official. They have to be careful how they present themselves. They also have to have badges. Once we get images of the latest badges, because they're going to be making some changes to the badges, once we get those images, we will be sure to share those here as well. Spreading false information about voting requirements, such as ability to speak English. You do not have to have the ability to speak English. You can speak in multiple languages. As we shared, I believe it was in 2020, we shared with you that even a person who has a disability or hearing impairment or whatnot, there are special rooms and special rules and special places where you can go. We're going to also make sure you get that information as well. So if they say you have to speak English to vote, say no, you got to know the rules. And I'll find some kind of way that you can get this document so that you can have this document on you when you go and vote. The other thing is they say display false or misleading signs about voter fraud, and then other harassment, particularly towards English speakers and voters of color. Now, Adrian is going to be working with me. We're trying to get some News in Motion cards that we will send to all of our regular viewers so that you can have them and enough cards that you can pass out to other people. Good morning, Dr. Antoinette. All right, we're going to put up a couple of phone numbers. Marion, I know you're on here, so I know you're going to grab these. Y'all, for the election protection hotline, here's this number, and I want you to have this number now. Put it in your smartphone right now. That number is 1-866-R-VOTE. And we have a banner for that. Thank you very much. Election protection, 1-866-R-VOTE. Put that in your smartphone now. Okay, put it in there. What's that Facebook user? It has to be Nawana. Uh, she said, "This is too much. This is happening. It is too much. It is too much. And it is my job. I just had to halt the rest of the headlines to make sure I'm getting you all this information." So, the Election Protection Hotline, and we're starting early sharing this information with all of you. We're starting early because early voting is going to begin in some states by the end of September. Y'all know we're in September, right? This is September the 8th, so it's coming sooner than you thought. So that's the Election Protection Hotline. We also have a U.S. Department of Justice Voting Rights Hotline. Let me give you that number: 800-253-3931. Again, 800-253-3931. That is the U.S. Department of Justice Voting Rights Hotline. That's the hotline there. Thank you, Marianne, for grabbing that. Y'all, this hotline is extremely important. The reason it's important, if you get someplace and they're saying that you can't vote and they bring in anything that sounds like justice to you, that is the number you want to call. That is a number you want to call. We also have Isaiah doesn't have this one. My apologies. We also have the TTY line, and that number is 877-267-8971. Again, the TTY line is 877-267-8971. I'll give that to you one more time. The TTY line, 877-267-8971. Y'all, put all of these numbers in your smartphone, have them readily available, and share. Again, Adrian and I are working. Thank you, Isaiah. Adrian and I are working on some things to get a News in Motion hotline card that we will mail free to all of you so that you can have it. Thank you, Latrice. Thank you. Now, who can become a poll monitor? Now, y'all, poll monitors are real, okay? And they are partisan, but there are still rules to becoming a poll monitor. You can even sign up. Let's say you say, well, you know what? I'm really not great at being a poll worker. I really don't want to give 12 hours of my day, but I do want to serve in some capacity. You can become a poll monitor, but there are rules to becoming poll monitors. In many states, poll monitors must be trained and certified by a political party or candidate and must carry their certification paperwork with them. In many states, poll monitors must also be registered voters in the state or county where they are monitoring the polls. The only problem I have with that, if you are monitoring a poll, you better be a registered voter. That's how I feel about that. What do they do? Certified poll monitors are allowed inside a polling place, but states may limit the number of poll monitors per candidate. So you just don't want to hover over people. You're really just checking to make sure nobody's passing off anything. Nobody's on the cell phone while they're casting their ballot. Nobody's messing with the voting machines, so forth and so on. So you're checking that. And you're also checking that nobody's intimidating someone else. The danger here with what's going on in Michigan and in Wisconsin, and we're going to give you these links so you can read this for yourself. You know what I believe? I believe that you should research the news yourself. Don't just take my word for it. But y'all, when you look at this kind of information, you want to make sure that people are not being intimidated and people are not being coerced or threatened or anything like that. I'm also saying with everything that's coming out, going by two by two may be the key this year. We thought 2020 was crazy. This is going to be more so. So I'm not going to go over more of this, but I have more to share with you. We also have a new video that's out there. We don't have it here, but it shows that election deniers access election office in Georgia. Y'all, this is a new footage, shows Kathy Lehman, a GOP county official who is under investigation for posing as a fake elector for Donald Trump, accompanied two operatives working for Trump's lawyer and entering the Coffee County Elections Office on January the 7th, 2021, the same day a voting machine was breached there. So all of this is coming out. Now, I want to keep going. Yeah, we have so much here. I also want to share with you, this is from the BrennerCenter.org, which I think there may be a link in there, Isaiah, for Brenning Center, excuse me. Y'all, here's a few checklists about this whole polling piece. Check your registration. Y'all know I say this all the time. Y'all, now is the time to check your registration. You should be so familiar with that page and looking at your voting information that if anybody questions you, you'll be able to pull out your smartphone, hit that tab in the history, and show them that you are a registered voter to back them away. See, y'all, knowledge is power. We've been taught that from the time we were born. It is true. Knowledge is power. We have to start using our knowledge now. Again, this is not to be afraid. This is to use wisdom. So check your voting registration, especially the day. Even if you early vote, check to see exactly where you're supposed to go and make sure you're still registered and make sure there's no questions. Check your voting ID. Know the rules before you go to the polls. A lot of rules have changed. Plan as best you can to go to the polls outside of peak hours. That way, if you're in a hurry, you can make sure you're in and out. If you have questions, politely ask for answers. Y'all, do not fight with the poll workers. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Dr. Antoinette says Maryland publishes the rules on the election board site. Thank you. And if you have that readily available for you, Dr. Antoinette, if you would post that, that would be great. If any of you from different states, I know we have viewers all across the U.S. Post if you have the information for your state. Latrice Jones says poll monitors versus poll workers. Is one needed more than the other? That's a great question. I think right now, Latrice, they're probably equal. I'm going to say that they're probably equally needed. Poll workers are down by almost 100,000, if not more. I mean, y'all know the rule on that. You know what's going to happen. Any place that will be closing polling locations, they're going to do it first in the marginalized areas. So we need to make sure we are available to vote. I've been disqualified. I don't mind telling you all that because of what I do. They were telling me I really couldn't do that, which okay, whatever. So now I'm gonna find another way to do what I want to do. Whether I'm going out there being a poll monitor or something, I'm going to still work that day. But I understand. I'm not even mad that I got disqualified. I understand there are rules, and because of what they heard on News and Motion, they're like, I don't think you can be a poll worker. Okay, whatever. So I would say they're equally as important. All right, y'all. So I told you about the 1-800-OUR-VOTE. I already told you that. Do not leave without casting a provisional ballot if you come up with that. That's why I say it's good to even go early vote. And you get there and they say, well, we don't see you. You can say, okay, no problem. Just stay right there. And then you go to the then you go to the Board of Election in your area and find out why you are being pushed to do a provisional ballot. I'm sure you can get to the bottom of that and be able to cast a regular ballot. And then know your rights as a voter. Okay, so that's voting. Well, now let's get to the oath keepers. As many of you've seen, a lot came out yesterday in regards to the oath keepers. God, a lot came out. So I want to first start with how we need to start taking ownership of what we do and how we do it. I'll start there. The Anti-Defamation League has a full report. And in this full report, and we do have a map of this, in this full report, I'm trying to find it myself. In this full report is called the Oath Keepers Data Leak, Unmasking Extremism in Public Life. We have a map for that. The darker the map, the darker the map, the more oath keepers are there. And the lighter means there's either zero or very few. Now, it's important to note that, so find your state on there, find your state, see what color it is. Now, I'm really surprised at California, but it's there. I'm not really surprised at Texas or Florida. I'm a little surprised at New York as well. But that's the map. That is the map. So pay attention to that. You see Pennsylvania, Arizona, you see Washington. I'm just looking at some of the darker ones. And you see Georgia, Colorado, Nevada, Oregon, Virginia, North Carolina. You see these different ones. I just want you to recognize this map. Thank you, Isaiah. So it's important to note I'm trying to advance this. Sorry. It's important to note that individuals included in the Oath Keepers database is not proof that they were or are still on oath, still an oath keeper, that they hold or held all or some of Oath Keepers' ideology or viewpoints, or that they ever actively participated in Oath Keeper activities. Now, again, this is the ADL's report. And again, I need to repeat this because it's a part of us being responsible as journalists to put this out here. An individual included on the Oath Keeper database is not proof that they were or are still an Oath Keeper, that they hold or held all or some Oath Keepers' ideology or viewpoints, or that they ever actively participated in Oath Keeper activities. So I wanted to make sure I got that out there. Now, per Axio, State of Play, the leaked membership list is published by the Journalism Collective Distribution Denial of Secrets. That's called Do Secrets in September 2021. Now, the ADL Center on Extremism went through the 38,000 names. Y'all, there are 38,000 names on this list to identify those who held sensitive positions, the group said in the report. Now, ADL identified 373 people's name on Oath Keepers membership list who are currently serving, and this has been vetted, but again, I will not list names, in law enforcement agencies across the U.S., including at least 10 chief of police and 11 sheriffs. Also, y'all, the group has also identified 117 people currently serving in the military, on top of 11 people serving in the reserves, and another 31 who are military contractors or hold civilian positions. It's also said in this list is included 86 active firefighters, including several fire chiefs, 19 active paramedics, and 31 active emergency technicians appearing on this membership list. Now, they also have identified 81 people who are holding, I want you to pay attention to this, please, who are holding or running for public office across the country as of August the 8th, 2022. These individuals run the gamut from local offices to mayors to town council members to federal council members to school board members to state representatives and senators, to state representative and senators, the report has stated. That's a lot. That's a lot. So let me go back to this because I want us to break through some of this. I see our time. I'm going to do as best I can, but y'all, I think this is that important to spend the day on doing this. It's so important that when we look at the election officials, and I'm jumping down to page number 4 on this, Oath Keepers do not explicitly target elected officials with their messaging and recruitment. But 81 individuals, which I just shared that with you. This number is deeply concerning based upon this report. When anti-government extremists hold elective office, it creates a dangerous opportunity for them to use their power to advance their ideology in a way that dramatically affect their constituents and undermine democracy. I want to say something that I've shared before we went off the air this summer, and that is it's important to attend town hall meetings. Here, you ask creative questions to get to the root of the answer that you want. You have to also be an active listener to hear what those officials or those candidates are saying back to you. You got to pay attention to if they're skipping or ignoring a part of your question, or if they become very intimidated or frustrated or begin to fidget or become anxious. You have to pay attention to all of that. Just ask Latrice Jones. I hang out with her, and boy, we be running some people, let me tell you. So, for example, and these people have been vetted. This has been verified. Let me say not vetted, but verified. Sanders County Sheriff Thomas Ramel identified himself as a sheriff, writing currently serving as a Sanders County Sheriff and is still sheriff. He's currently active. Joe Wright of Collins County, Texas, signed up for the organization before taking office, but he remains a part of the list. Bradley Rogers, who is currently serves as a county commissioner in Elkhart County, Indiana, listed that he was an elected sheriff of Elkhart County, Indiana. And then Arizona State Senator Wendy Rogers, a self-proclaimed member of the Oath Keepers who have remained a supporter despite the group's alleged participation in the January 6th attack. South Dakota State Representative Phil Jensen, again, the names that I'm naming right now have been verified, who identified himself as a state senator. New Hampshire State Senator Bob is Giuda. I'm not sure of the pronunciation, so I don't want to mess that up. Who signed up for an annual membership with the organization, though he claimed he has left the group following his participation in 2014. Idaho State Representative Chad Christensen, who appears in the Oath Keepers database as having a Liberty Tree membership, which is a $10 a month membership. Alaska State Representative David Eastman, who attended the rally in Washington, D.C. prior to January the 6th Capitol attack. They talk about how they recruit students, how they recruit teachers, how they recruit physicians, paramedics, and so forth. I'm going to give y'all that link later on. We'll come in there and put that in there. But with that, some of you may be asking the question, well, what do we do with this? How do we get through this? Well, here's a couple of things I want to share with you. Let's see. Latrice Jones, African Americans need to attend town hall meetings and ask questions pertaining to our community. Absolutely correct. So here are some things when I was going through, and I was on a phone call yesterday, and we were just a Black journalist asking questions and seeing what we can do. There's a list of 3 things that came out yesterday, both when it comes to poll working and poll monitoring and understanding our daily lives with this now leaked list from the Oath Keeper. Now, by the way, those numbers I gave you, they don't shoot up to 38,000 people on a list. So you have to ask, this is my thinking, you have to ask yourself this question: how many bankers are on the list? How many CEOs of banks and corporations are on the list? How many presidents are on the list of companies? How many teachers are on the list? How many Uber drivers, cab drivers, pilots are on the list? How many physicians are on the list? Nurses are on the list? Social workers are on the list? I just started thinking, to get to 38,000 people on a list, how many of these people do we interact with on a daily basis? Just a question I want to put out here. So one thing that we came up with is start interviewing people. I recall when my children, when I first, even before that, when I was looking for OBGYN before I birthed my first child, I asked questions. I interviewed them. I wanted to know, who are you? What's your work? How long, when there's now a database out there on Google's, y'all go and interview the people. Look at the reviews. Now, don't just look at the negative ones. Look also at the positive ones, and then pray and determine who should you see about what. But I used to do that with my children. I want to know, who's this physician? Where are we going? Who's going to be delivering? Who are the nurses? We need to get back to knowing who these individual people are. So we have to interview the people. Y'all show up, even interview teachers. I'm going there too. Even show up at parent-teacher conferences. Y'all be attentive, listen, ask questions. And if you don't know, don't be embarrassed to take someone with you, for example, in education to the parent-teacher conference. Something that came out that someone said I thought was brilliant. They said this is where the Black church can come in. Have people available as volunteers in these areas to accompany parents to parent-teachers meetings, or to accompany people to doctor's appointment. I did a e-news this past 2 Mondays ago about advocates for doctor's appointment. We need the advocates. If you get some shocking information, you more than likely will not remember what the physician shared with you. So you want to have somebody come along with you to take the notes, to be able to share the information with you later. Y'all, this is information. Y'all, this is who News in Motion is. I'm here to give you news, but this news is to educate you so we can get through some of what's going on. Y'all, hear me. That leaked list is real. Let me just say that. Again, not to scare you, not to intimidate you, not to incite fear, but to help us be armed with wisdom, knowledge, and education to deal with these things. Y'all, this is real. This isn't going away anytime soon. So, y'all, this election, this midterm, I've been saying it for at least a year. This midterm election is the most important election of our lifetime. It was not the general election, it's this election right here, right before us. Number two, interview doctors. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're not comfortable, find another doctor. Y'all, we have to just stop taking their word. If they say, well, we need you to take metformin. We see that you're diabetic. How did you arrive at that? Let me see the labs. What are the numbers? What are the average numbers? If you're not sure, Google is your friend. Not Google, go see a nurse, go see a doctor, go see somebody who can help you. I be calling my sister all the time. What does this mean? And then she'll tell me. I'm like, okay, I got it now. All right, all right, all right. No big deal. I just left my primary doctor. Y'all been with me on some stuff that's been going on. I left my primary doctor for this very same reason. She was misdiagnosing me all the time. But I have a spirit of discernment that was saying, that ain't right. That ain't true. Don't believe that. And I moved on from there. Dr. Antoinette said, use the record feature with their permission on your phone during meetings. Absolutely. The record feature. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great idea. And y'all, number three, what we came up with on the call yesterday, if you have been stopped by the police, call someone. If you get pulled over, have them listening in on the conversation. Again, not fear, but wisdom. Y'all, these oath keepers, the list is real. Now, the names on the list, again, I gave you the note here. I'm gonna find it again so I can read it again. If I can find it, I might have lost it by now. But y'all, I have so many pages of notes. Okay, here it is. And individuals included on the Oath Keepers database is not proof that they were or still an Oath Keeper, that they hold or held all or some of the Oath Keepers' ideology or viewpoints, or that they ever actively participated in Oath Keepers' activities. Also, in that list, where there were some people reporting because they saw their name on the list, people were saying, I never signed up for this. Some people said, well, I signed up 10 friends. So my 10 friends may not really identify with this. I was just giving names. So that's how other names got on the list. So, along with that, let me also share a judge rejects Oath Keepers leaders' bid to delay the January 6th trial. The high-profile, sedacious conspiracy trial for the leader of the far-right Oath Keepers extremist group will begin this month after the judge on Wednesday rejected a last-minute bid by Stuart Rhodes to replace his attorneys and delay his case. The case against Rhodes and four co-defendants will start September 27th in federal court, will be the most serious case to go to trial so far for the January 6, 2021 insurrection. That's Associated Press reporting. Let me say this about that. Y'all, there's no mistake that this list was leaked. At the same time, this judge rejected the leader's bid to delay the January 6th trial. There's a lot. One more thing, and then I'm out of here. Y'all, we have Blake Masters, who was a GOP candidate for the U.S. Senate in Arizona, was telling people not to vote in 2006. He is defending his stand of 9/11 conspiracy theorists. And then there was many emails obtained by HuffPost lament what he describes as a limited scope of American political debate and decry American politics and election as little more than a scam. But yet he is running for the GOP U.S. Senate in Arizona. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. I don't want to go off without talking about the four killed in Memphis shooting spree, which was live streamed on Facebook. Four people were killed and three others injured during an hours long shooting spree in Memphis on Wednesday, part of which was live streamed on Facebook, police said. Officials said a suspect who terrorized the city for hours, shooting victims at multiple crime locations, is in custody. There were at least 7 shootings and a carjacking. That was also reported by HuffPost. Y'all, before I go to the inspirational message, which is going to be about grace, I just want to share with you that we just have to be um, uh, mindful of what's happening. Now, this isn't about selling a t shirt, but there is something that's dealing with association when people see it. Like when I wear my vote t shirt, which we'll show you a picture in a moment, when I wear my vote t shirt, it tells people been in lines. Target, I'm guilty. Target, and a woman said, "Oh my gosh, so glad I saw that." She literally pulled out her phone and registered to vote right there. So y'all, it's by association. So Isaiah, if you would put the vote t-shirt up, yeah, that is the vote t-shirt. That's the t-shirt that's in my latest images as well. So vote t-shirt that I'm wearing today. Um, please, please, please consider purchase. Now, these are women's t-shirts. I'm trying to get some for men as well. I'm working directly with the designer on these. And so they're giving me a deal. So they're not on my merch store. You will have to get them by the PayPal link, which we will get to you today as well. Thank you, Isaiah. We will get that to you today as well. Lori said that is so much. That is so much to take in. We just need to pray, not just for our city, but the world. So much sadness going on. I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. All right, y'all. So the inspirational message today is grace. And again, I do have on my shirt. I have on my vote t-shirt. Um, and for the inspirational message today is grace. Y'all, we have to offer grace. If we start just offering grace, being kind, God has given us grace and mercy. So who are we not to extend that to other people? In this season, we must offer grace. There's a lot going on. So we must offer grace. We have to be aware, absolutely, aware of our surroundings, absolutely. But to offer grace is key. To offer grace. I don't know about you, but I love it when people extend grace to me. Maybe I'm having a bad day, so somebody extends grace to me. Maybe I'm just not where I need to be for that moment or that particular environment or whatever, and I'm begging God to offer grace to me. We never know what people are going through, so y'all extend grace. Offer grace to people. Some of us are holding on to unforgiveness, and we even forgotten why we have not forgiven a person or even ourselves. Offer grace to that person and go ahead and extend that forgiveness. Yeah, it's a freeing opportunity. It's a freeing to your mind. It's a freeing to your body. A lot of sickness, I'm sure I've said this on here before. A lot of sickness comes from where we hold on to unforgiveness and where we hold on to this unwillingness to offer grace to people. Y'all, with everything that's going on, even when I was going through, and y'all better believe I was looking for names on that list. Like, who? Let me see, because it's an alphabetical order too. Let me see who's on this list. You're looking at these names, and I'm looking for people. And I said, you know what? What are you looking for? Just offer grace. You don't know why they're on their list. You don't know if somebody else put their name on this list. You don't know if they got in and decided this is not for me and got out. You don't know if they got in and then they had a one-on-one encounter with Jesus and they got out and they just didn't get their names removed for whatever reason. We don't know. We have to offer grace. That's the same thing when we're dealing with hearsay and gossip and listening to people. And we're taking them at face value. And we're like, we don't know this person. We don't know if these things have been done. Offer grace. Offer grace. All right, y'all. I didn't expect today's news to be so heavy. I was like, well, welcome back, Gail, to News in Motion after all this was popping off yesterday. But I thought it was so important not to do our regular news headlines, to give you this kind of information. If you know anybody who's looking for news that is different, please share News in Motion with them. Let them know they can find us right here on Facebook or on our YouTube or on LinkedIn. We're not trying to get just viewers just to get viewers. We're trying to help educate people the best that we can. And that is our goal here. We have fun, we laugh, we cut up, we look at the chat, we feed off of the conversation in the chat room. All of that, we're doing that and we're excited about it. But more than that, we want to make sure you're educated. Our people are educated. When I say our people, I mean all kinds of people are educated going into the November the 8th election. It's important to have this list when we're talking about the oath keepers. It is. It is. Who are you? Who are you interacting with each day? You know, and then even in that, still offer grace, still offer grace. Poll workers, y'all, I cannot wait till Monday till we have Jamal join us on News in Motion to talk about becoming a poll worker. We also have an article from Power the Polls. I keep wanting to say Power to the Polls, but Power the Polls. We have an article. We have 3 articles in the Ready publication that will be coming out soon. We're in our final thing, y'all. Publishing something like that is not an easy feat, trust me. There's a lot of details, so we're getting closer to releasing that. So we're excited about that. And if you want to subscribe or become a Patreon member, you can go to patreon.com/Gail Dudley. We put a lot of information in there. And if you want to receive the Monday e-newsletter, and it's a free e-newsletter, you can go to my website, www.gaildudley.com, and scroll and subscribe to that. All right, y'all know what I say. Stay well, everyone. And remember, make some bold moves. I'm out.